be hating people. That's why I was dealing with my job, driving a truck, and even we get caught up somebody and do wrong. Your boss do wrong. Hey, boss make mistakes too. Your boss do wrong. Now you're looking at it with an evil eye and you're mad. Don't want to do your job because your boss did something wrong. Look, I didn't say something. I wrote letters on my bosses. I wrote letters on them. And even if they said something out of line, I knew how to respond to. But then after that, I'd be like, okay, let's go get some coffee. It wasn't even personal. Like, look, we just had an issue here. We dealt with that issue. We could move on. I'm still going to do my job for you. I'm still going to do what because it ain't the end of the world. So now if you had that kind of commitment on a job, a physical job, that's much more when you're serving the Lord. That's much more. It's just like people on physical job, they smart, they wise to, like when I left my job, hey, I give them some notice because I might have to go back. That's how you operate. So you don't take everything so personal. You don't take it so personal when you know how God is having you operate. So he said, verse 15, yet count him not as an enemy. You don't count him as an enemy. It'll be a point, if it gets to that point, then you know how to deal with that because they make themselves enemy. It's just like it's a scripture say, have I become your enemy because I tell you the truth? Because that's what sometimes people get mad if you tell them that something was wrong or that they did something wrong. But he said, yet count him not as an enemy, but do what?
But admonish him as a brother.
Oh, but admonish him as a brother. Admonish him as a brother. That's what you supposed to do if you trying to maintain the integrity of the brotherhood. But now, go to Deuteronomy 23 now. That's how important it is. That's why he say love the brotherhood. That's why Jesus said there's no greater love than this, that a man lay down his life for his friend. So though we all ain't going to have to lay down our life for one another, we might have to suffer something. We might have to make some type of sacrifice. We might have to put up with something. Deuteronomy 27. See, just like he said, love the brotherhood, fear God, and he said, honor the king. And like I said earlier, you got some Hebrew brothers, they just anti-everything. Anti-everything, I mean, just talk real quick. Look, again, hey, we know that as a whole, you could say, hey, the government is wicked. Satan runs the world. We understand that. But still, that don't give you a right that you just gonna curse people out. It's just like you see some Hebrews, they out on the streets hollering and cursing people out. Talking about people like they dogs. And some of that comes from hatred, from how Israel been oppressed, but that ain't how you address that. Even when it comes to, they talk about the Gentile, the white man, they talk about some of these Hebrews, they seem to be confused on who Esau or the Edomites are versus the Gentiles, which is the Europeans. They seem to be confused because they lump them all together. Right. I see them calling the Gentiles, which we call white people, Esau and vice versa. I said, they don't even know who they're dealing with. There's a difference between Edom and Gentiles. Edom is the one saying he's a Jew as a whole that's in the promised land. He got to be in the promised land. In control of the promised land. And he all over the world, but Edom is Edom. He is not a Gentile. He is not considered, what we would call the white man. He's different. Even years ago, I had an Edomite. I don't know if he seen my name on my jacket or what, because my name been Israel a long time. But he said something to me that didn't take me by surprise at all. I knew he was Esau. When I pulled up, I was driving the truck, I pulled up to the spot. I knew it was Esau. He had the little beanie on his head. I said, okay. But then he said something. He used a slur to refer to Gentiles. He used a slur to refer to them. Like, I can't stand them. But I guess he must have knew I knew, because I don't know why he said it, but I knew exactly what he said, because I knew he wasn't him. I knew he wasn't a Gentile. Right. So, but you should know the difference. But now this is about Edom, because you got brothers that hate Edom, and even that's brotherhood. Just like I said, we all brothers to a degree. He said, honor all men, right? Deuteronomy 23:7. Deuteronomy 23:7. Because you never know. You have somebody who from Edom or from any other nationality will listen to the word and come a part of the spiritual brotherhood if you give them opportunity. 23:7 though. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother.
See, now he said, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. Now some brothers might say, well, God said he hate Esau. Well, that's God, and God said vengeance is mine too. He tell you don't take vengeance, right? So thou shalt not abhor an Edomite. That means hate an Edomite. And I'm talking about these brothers be cursing Edom out, but they don't seem to understand the difference between Edom and the Gentile, but they be cursing them all out. So they going to get them all. But he told you, thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Even if they done wrong, the Lord going to handle that, which they have done wrong. Edom done took everything from Israel, saying he is the Jew, is in control of the promised land and Jerusalem. Thou shalt not abhor an Edomite, for he is thy brother. Go ahead.
Thou shalt not abhor an Egyptian, because thou wast a stranger in his land.
See, don't even abhor an Egyptian. You was a stranger in his land. But he said, don't abhor an Edomite. So that means, regardless of what Edom has done, the Lord can handle that. I ain't going to be running around cursing them out and say, oh, you this and you ain't no good. You know, we can read what the Lord said in the Bible. The Lord called people the synagogue of Satan. Well, that's in the Bible. That's, matter of fact, the Lord got enough scripture to deal with everybody where you don't even have to put your 2 cents in. You don't even have to do it. That's why I tell people all the time when it comes to correcting somebody or saying, you know, you ain't even really got to, you can say it real nice. It's going to still sting them. You can say it real nice with a smile on your face. It's still going to sting. In other words, you ain't got to get all into it yourself and start moving your neck and all that. You ain't got to do that. Obadiah, it's only 1 chapter. You know how sisters do. They really good with the neck. Obadiah, 1 chapter, verse 1. Now he said, don't abhor an Edomite. So ain't no need for me to be, you know, doing lessons, cursing them out. One and 1. Obadiah 1 and start at verse 1. Go ahead.
The vision of Obadiah. Thus saith the Lord God concerning Edom, we have heard a rumor from the Lord, and an ambassador is sent among the heathen. Arise ye, and let us rise up against her in battle.
Okay, so now, the Lord said, he talking to Edom, because the Lord is going to punish Edom. Edom has done Israel, has done wrong and done Israel wrong, and the Lord is going to get him for that. So he said, this is a vision of Obadiah. The Lord said concerning Edom, we heard a rumor from the Lord, an ambassador sit among the heathen, arise ye, let us rise against her in battle. And the Lord got Edom where they dislike greatly in the world, but still we dislike more than anybody, but Edom is disliked as well. And the Lord is going to get Edom. But let's see what the Lord going to get Edom for. Skip down now to verse 8, and let's see Because even Edom is going to get in trouble. His trouble is coming from what he did to his brother. The Lord told Israel, don't abhor an Edomite. So we're not supposed to do that, but that go both ways. Edom shouldn't be abhorring us and doing us in like he done. That's why he going to pay, though. Go ahead. 8.
Shall I not in that day, saith the Lord, even destroy the wise men out of Edom, and the understanding out of the mount of Esau?
See, the Lord going to get Esau. That's why I ain't even worried about it at all. Matter of fact, you see what the Lord going to do to certain people, you really should halfway feel sorry for them. You see what the Lord going to do. You ain't even got to worry about it. Trying to be angry or take vengeance. Go ahead, verse 9.
And thy mighty men, O Teman.
Now that was one of Esau's sons, so that's still referring to Esau. Thy mighty men, O T-man. Go ahead.
Shall be dismayed to the end that every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter.
See, every one of the mount of Esau may be cut off by slaughter. The Lord going to deal with Esau. But he told me not to abhor an Edomite, so I'm going to still treat him nice. I call him a brother. He is your brother. Matter of fact, Edom is closer than us than other black people. Because Edom is come from Shem, just like us, and he is Jacob's twin brother. So he closer than us than other black people. So, but again, we are. So I ain't got no problem calling none of them brothers. Because we all brothers. But the Lord going to separate the spiritual brothers from the physical brothers. But go ahead.
For thy violence against thy brother Jacob, shame shall cover thee.
See, but this is why the Lord going to get him. He even going to get him for doing his brother in. Doing his brother in. For your violence against your brother Jacob, shame, and that's us, shame shall cover thee in what?
And thou shalt be cut off forever.
So he even going to get, because he didn't remember the brotherhood. Even the physical brotherhood, he was his twin brother, and he did him in. Verse 11.
And the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and the day that the strangers carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou was as one of them.
See, he telling you exactly what Edom did. That's how he got the promised land now. Because he started perpetrating when Israel went into captivity. You going to take advantage of somebody else's misfortune. And look, we had misfortune. We had punishment coming from God. So we was wrong for what we did. But even when somebody is wrong, you don't try to take advantage of their misfortune. Right. That's what they did. He said, in the day that thou stoodest on the other side, in the day that strangers came and carried us away into slavery. In the day that strangers carried away captive, his forces took all our forces into captivity. We didn't have no strength left. And foreigners entered into his gates, talking about us. We had some gates at one time, other than Mississippi and Baton Rouge and all these places. That's the only gate we think we got now. Where you from? Mississippi. What? Greenwood. But we had a country. He said, foreigners entered into his gates and cast lots upon Jerusalem. He said, even thou was as one of them. He said, you did your brother wrong. So the Lord gonna get him for that. Verse 12.
But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of that brother.
See, brother is important in the Bible. Even in this was a physical brother, but they was twin brothers from birth. So, if this is important to the Lord, you know spiritual brotherhood is of utmost importance. You don't lose sight of that at no cost. It'll have to be totally extreme, the end of the world, that spiritual brothers all of a sudden not spiritual brothers no more. But thou shouldest not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that what?
In the day that he became a stranger.
In the day that he became a stranger, because we got lost. We lost now. We strangers to our own self now, but go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction.
In the day of their destruction. You rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Go ahead.
Neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of his distress.
See, he said, neither shouldest thou have spoken proudly in the day of his distress. So now they took advantage of Esau's situation. But now let's go further. Go of Israel's situation. Amos 1. Amos 1. Amos 1. See, this is why he say love the brotherhood. Amos 1. And we're going to pick it up at verse 9. 1 and 9. And he going to mention some other Israel brothers or neighbors. Verse 9, go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom, and remembered not the brotherly covenant.
See, the Lord don't like that. See, Tyrus took advantage of the situation, because, you know, one day you friends and you all good, and then the next day, somebody's selling you into slavery. So that ain't remembering the brotherly covenant. Thus said the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, and for 4, he said, I would not turn away the punishment. I'm going to punish Tyrus. Why? Because they delivered up the whole captivity to Edom and remembered not the brotherly covenant. See, the Lord even get people for not remembering the flesh and blood brotherly covenant, let alone the spiritual covenant. Why you think he say love the brotherhood? Because it's going to be a problem if you don't. Go ahead, verse 10.
But I will send a fire on the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the palaces thereof.
Go ahead.
Thus saith the Lord, for 3 transgressions of Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because he did pursue his brother with the sword.
See, he pursued his brother, talking about us, Israel, Jacob. He did pursue his brother with the sword, and what else?
And did cast off all pity.
And he cast off all pity. Go ahead.
And his anger did tear perpetually, and he kept his wrath forever.
See, he kept his wrath forever. He did never let up. See, but when you spiritual brothers, you know better than to behave like that, or you should. But Edom going to pay for that. But I ain't even mad at him for that. 1 Samuel 20. 1 Samuel 20. So that's an example on how the Lord, he even deal with people who have forgotten the physical brotherly covenant, even between nations. 1 Samuel 20, and we're going to pick it up at verse 11. 1 Samuel 20 and verse 11. But like he said earlier, we read in Proverbs, he said, a brother is born for adversity. So even when it get hot in the kitchen, we're going to see an example here. Somebody that's a real brother, they gonna know how to handle that. 1 Samuel 20 and 11. 1 Samuel 20 and 11. 1 Samuel 20, go ahead, verse 11.
And Jonathan said unto David, come, let us go out into the field. And they went out both of them into the field. And Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow, any time on the 3rd day, and behold, if there be good toward David, and I then send not unto thee, and show it to thee, the Lord do so and much more to Jonathan.
Oh, okay, so wait a minute. So now, this is David and Jonathan. Jonathan, of course, was King Saul's son. So, technically, you would say, well, Jonathan should have been the next king of Israel. He was the king's son. However, David was going to be the next king of Israel from the Lord. And even Jonathan recognized that. He recognized that. And so he had a love, him and David. It said one time they, when they had first met, how their hearts was knit together and all of that. So Jonathan had a love for David, a brotherly love, I need to add too, because you get people gonna go in here, like you gotta stress stuff like this, like brothers say, they say something that might be misconstrued. They said no homo. For real. So no homo here. Because they done said that. Somebody's, because now the sodomites, which we call gay, I don't even know why they stole that word, gay. But, because ain't nothing happy about it. But the sodomites then said that, see, they was, David and Solomon, David and Jonathan was gay. They was gay because it talk about love. It talk about love. He didn't even mention, we're going to read something that if you want to let your mind go that way, you can possibly go there. But your mind got to be messed up in the first place. So this ain't no homo here. This is no homo. Let me put that disclaimer on there. But they had brotherly love. It's just like they tried to say that, what's the cartoon, the puppets, Ernie and Bert and Ernie? They tried to say, you need to bring them out the closet. Y'all need to just, told Channel 11 or the people who create, you need to just bring Bert and Ernie out the closet. People like, they not gay, they puppets. They puppets.
Right.
They gonna make everything just messed up. But anyway. So Jonathan, what's going on here, this is gonna show some brotherly love. Even when it come down to Jonathan's own father and his own potential aspirations where he could have been king, hey, he gonna be willing to lay all that aside for what's right. So this is what's going on. David is because he's doing real good for the Lord, he's being hated by Saul, Jonathan's father. He's being hated by Saul. So Jonathan is telling David, he really don't know for sure. He don't think that David is being hated. David said, man, your father hating me. He trying to kill me. Jonathan said, well, I'm going to test him out. So that's what he getting to at verse 12. They out in the field talking. Jonathan said unto David, O Lord, and he basically going into a covenant with him before the Lord. O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father. What do you mean sounded? I'm going to test my father out. I'm going to test him out. When I check him out and see, what's going on with him. Because David say he trying to kill him. I don't necessarily believe that. So I'm going to check him out and see. And whatever it is, I'm going to be honest about it. Because, he could have just took David out himself. Matter of fact, David told him, said, man, if I done something wrong, you kill me yourself. But he hadn't done nothing wrong. But if Jonathan was looking out for his own well-being or future status, hey, he could have easily had David knocked off. Right. And then he would have surely been the next king. But he didn't care about that. So he said, look, Jonathan said unto David, O Lord God of Israel, when I have sounded my father about tomorrow, anytime, or the third day, behold, if there be good toward David, and then I sin not unto thee and show it, he said, even if he find out that ain't nothing wrong and he don't tell David and leave David out there, that would have been wrong. Verse 13, then the Lord do so much more to Jonathan. But what? Finish 13.
But if it please my father to do thee evil, then will I show it thee and send thee away, and thou mayest go in peace.
See, he said, I'm going to look out for you, though. If my father trying to do you evil, and I know you don't deserve it, he said, look, I'm going to send you away that you go in peace. See, this is some real brotherly love here. He's telling him right now, look, if my father is wrong about this, then, and trying to kill you, I'm going to let you know, even in spite of what my father thinks. That's his father. In other words, he said, I'm going to side with what's right with the brother above my father. But go ahead.
And the Lord be with thee as he hath been with my father.
Now he said, but the Lord be with you. See, it ain't like he don't love his father. He love his father. But he not going to let his father induce him into doing something contrary to God, even against the brotherhood, against his brother David. Because David is his brother. So again, you would say, well, blood is thicker than water. Jonathan didn't go for that. Jonathan didn't go for that. No, the spiritual brotherhood should be the thickest. So he gonna say, look, I'm gonna side with you. I'm gonna let you know. And may the Lord be with you. See, so that shows you, because a lot of times you will have people that don't understand. Like my father, he told me he was mad at my uncle because my uncle didn't lead the Israel of God. I didn't care about my uncle leaving the Israel of God, but he telling me, oh, he ain't no good. He cursing him because he wasn't my father. He just was trying to show me support, and he thought my uncle should show me some support. Nah, it ain't about that. But he thought it should have been that way. But now, keep reading, 14.
And thou shalt not only while yet I live show me the kindness of the Lord, that I die not. But also thou shalt not cut off the kindness from my house, even forever. It's like forever. Mm-hmm. Know not when the Lord hath cut off the enemies of David, everyone from the face of the earth.
So Jonathan is saying, in other words, look, I'm going to look out for you in this matter. I'm going to look out for you. I'm giving my word. I'm going to look out for you in this matter. Now, this show you this is some adversity that's going on. This is not the best of situations. This is not an ideal situation. Jonathan got to even choose between his father, his own father, and this brother David. He got to make a decision here. And he got to make the right decision because he feared God. And so he said, look, I'm going to see what's on my father's brain. When I find out what's on his brain, I'm going to let you know what's on his brain. And it don't matter. And then you look out for me, even down the road, you look out for my descendants, which David did. That's why David was looking for somebody from Jonathan's family to bless later on. Right. Once he became king over Israel. He was looking for somebody. Matter of fact, David wasn't even mad at Saul. He didn't have nothing against Saul, even though, pay attention now, Saul was trying to kill him. Saul was trying to kill David. That's what Jonathan about to find out. Jonathan said, I'm going to sound him out. I'm going to test him. And Jonathan going to find out, yeah, Saul trying to kill David, but David still wasn't going to break the brotherhood with Saul. Saul want to do that. That's going to be on him. The Lord will deal with him. But go ahead. What verse you at?
Verse 16. Mm-hmm. So Jonathan made a covenant with the house of David, saying, let the Lord even require it at the hand of David's enemy.
See, so he made a covenant. Go ahead.
And Jonathan caused David to swear again because he loved him.
Oh, because he loved him. No homo now. But Jonathan caused David to swear again because he loved him. Go ahead.
For he loved him as he loved his own soul.
See, that's the type of love. That's the type of love you have for the brotherhood. He loved him like he loved himself. So the same way he would have wanted to be treated in this situation, he said, that's the way I'm going to treat him. Go ahead.
Then Jonathan said to David, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat will be empty.
See, this is what David was trying to do. David said, man, you got to let me go. See, David was scared to even leave without permission because he knew that would have looked bad. That would have then Saul could have really said, see, he bogus. I told you he was bogus. So David, that's why David kind of got permission from Jonathan here. So he said, but that's how we going to test him out. He said, you go ahead and leave. Tomorrow is the new moon. New moon is what starts the month. And the priests had to do sacrifice, but you know Israel will have a party for anything. We'll have a party. And the Lord, as long as you ain't sinning against God, ain't nothing wrong with a party, with eating and having a good time, as long as you don't get out of hand. Nothing wrong with a party. Matter of fact, Sarah, Abraham's wife, had a party. She had a party when she got through weaning Isaac. She had a weaning party. I didn't wean my boy. Let's party. They had a party. I ain't lying. It's in the Bible. Had a party. You know, we'll find a reason to party. It's Tuesday. Let's party. So they used to have a good time on the new moon at the beginning of the month. They did it a couple of days. Because the new moon started the month. It is something to recognize in God's eyesight. They had all kind of sacrifices. That's why we have a fast We usually fast not on the new moon. We fast prior to the new moon. So at least when you go into the new moon, the new month, you should be eating good and feeling good. I don't tell nobody to fast on the new moon. But that's what he's talking about here. He said, tomorrow is the new moon, and thou shalt be missed, because thy seat shall be empty. Since they was kings, hey, they had a nice little feast on the new moon. Every month they did this. Though it wasn't commanded, they did it, and it wasn't nothing, God, ain't going to get mad at you as long as you ain't sinning. But go ahead, 19.
And when thou hast stayed 3 days, then thou shalt go down quickly and
Okay, I'm sorry. I wanted to skip there. Skip to 27. Because he said, look, tomorrow's a new moon. Your seat going to be missed. And we're going to see what's what, though. Go ahead.
And it came to pass on the morrow, which was the 2nd day of the month.
Okay, so it went past. We skipped over a little bit to save a little time. The new moon came. David wasn't there. He had got permission. So Saul wondered. Jonathan didn't say nothing to Saul. Jonathan is there at the table. He didn't say nothing to Saul. Saul didn't say nothing. Saul wondered, I wonder where he at. Jonathan know all along. He didn't gave him leave. So Saul didn't say nothing. Jonathan didn't say nothing. Just his seat is empty. If you read up, Saul said, well, maybe he unclean. Something happened to him. He kind of like hoping something bad is going on. He not there, though. Go ahead.
That David's place was empty, and Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today?
Okay, so now this is the second day, because they did it a couple of days, 2-3 days. The new moon is the first of the month, every month. Just like had to deal with a brother about this. He's saying, look, you don't deal with, you just deal with the first new moon, and then later on, you just keep counting from there. You ain't got to worry about the second new moon. Look, every new moon is a new month. You start with the first one, then you don't just count days. Now, when you get to the second new moon, that's the beginning of the second month. And so on. That's why I said verse 27, it came to pass on the morrow, which was the second day of the month. See, the second day of the month is the day after the new moon, period. The new moon was the first day of the month. So the second day of the month, David's place was empty. Saul finally said something. Saul said unto Jonathan his son, wherefore cometh not the son of Jesse to meet, neither yesterday nor today? 28.
And Jonathan answered Saul, David earnestly asked leave of me to go to Bethlehem.
See, David wasn't going to even leave without getting leave. He wasn't going to leave without getting permission, because he knew that would have looked bad. So he hooked it up with Jonathan. 29.
And he said, let me go, I pray thee, for our family hath a sacrifice in the city, and my brother, he hath commanded me to be there. And now, if I have found favor in thine eyes, let me get away, I pray thee, and see my brethren. Therefore he cometh not unto the king's table.
He says, so I let him go. Saul was upset because he wanted to kill the dude. Go ahead, 30.
Then Saul's anger was kindled against Jonathan, and he said unto him, Thou son of the perverse rebellious woman.
See, boy, they know that's cursing you out. He cursing his own son out. You call somebody a son of a, well, that's what he called him. He just used some other language. It's still the same thing. He said, thou son of the perverse and rebellious woman. Go ahead.
Do not I know that thou hast chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion, and unto the confusion of thy mother's nakedness?
See, he cursing them out, really. He cursing them out. He said, you think I don't know that you have chosen the son of Jesse to thine own confusion? And unto the confusion of your mother. He said, look, you chosen him. But look, so his father is upset with him, but he is doing what he's supposed to do regarding the brotherhood, because the brother ain't done nothing to be killed.
Right.
And Saul want to kill him. And he wasn't sure until now that Saul wanted to kill him. He basically siding with David over his own father. That shows you how important the brotherhood is. And the Lord looked out for Jonathan for this. Even though he stayed with his father, he hung out with his father. Matter of fact, he died with his father. He died with his father. That was his father. Right. And the Lord probably let it go on so long and had some mercy because of Jonathan. Because he was straight up righteous. So he sided with this brother, even though his own father. That shows you don't let the brotherhood, you don't let nothing come between that. That's why he say love the brotherhood. Whether it's your father, your mother, your wife, whoever. Go ahead, 31.
For as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. Wherefore now send and fetch him unto me, for he shall surely die.
See, he says, as long as the son of Jesse, because only reason Saul didn't like David because the Lord was with him and he saw how good he was. That's the reason. He was envious of David. He got envious of David from the day them women were singing that Saul killed his thousands and David killed his 10,000. It was over with from then on. But look, that was the way it was. I mean, if it wasn't that way, then he should have said, look, y'all better change that song. Sing it right. I killed 10,000. If he that upset about, but that's the way it was. He was envious of David because the Lord was blessing him and he was, but Saul was crazy because look, David was still under him. David was still working for him and making him look good. So what the heck you going to be envious for? He got the ability to kill more than you. You should be glad that, hey, they getting killed if that's what you in the killing business. You should just be glad. But no, it wasn't about the brotherhood with Saul. It wasn't about what God's will was. It was about him. And he expected Jonathan to be on the same page. And if Jonathan is thinking fleshly, if he's thinking about himself, well, yeah, it's going to be my time next. I'm next in line. So, yeah, we got to get rid of him. But see, Jonathan wasn't on his own page. He wasn't on the fleshly. He was about what God's will was and about the whole, about the brotherhood. So he told him at 31, for as long as the son of Jesse liveth upon the ground, don't you know, thou shalt not be established, nor thy kingdom. See, so that should have really appealed to Jonathan if he's don't care about the brotherhood and thinking about himself. That would appeal to somebody like that. But what Jonathan say, 32.
And Jonathan answered Saul his father and said unto him, wherefore shall he be slain? What hath he done?
See, Jonathan said, well, look, what he do then? Why should he be killed? What has he done? Go ahead.
And Saul cast a javelin at him to smite him.
Well, Saul tried to get him. He said, I'm going to kill you. He cast a javelin at him to smite him. Go ahead.
Whereby Jonathan knew that it was determined of his father to slay David.
See, he done sounded him out like he said, right? Go ahead.
So Jonathan arose from the table in fierce anger and did eat no meat the second day of the month, for he was grieved for David because his father had done him shame.
See, he was grieved. Go ahead.
And it came to pass in the morning that Jonathan went into the field at the time appointed with David and had a little lad with him.
See, he took a little boy because he going to shoot some arrows and he going to let David know what the deal is. Because David out there hanging out waiting on word. Whether he should come back or whether, look, man, you just go ahead. You right, he's trying to kill you. Right. So Jonathan going to keep his word. Verse 42, skip down to 42 because he gave him the signal. And then when the little boy left, they came out and met. Go ahead, 42.
And Jonathan said to David, go in peace, for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of the Lord.
See, if Jonathan was on his own page, he could have easily had David killed. If he was on his own page, thinking about his own aspirations, his own goals, what he want to be, he could have easily had David killed. His father wanted him dead, but see, he did the right thing. He remembered the brotherhood. So he said, go in peace for as much as we have sworn both of us in the name of the Lord, saying what?
Saying the Lord be between me and thee, and between my seed and thy seed forever. And he arose and departed, and Jonathan went into the city.
See, so he let David go, and Saul wasn't able to kill him. But now, skip over to 2 Samuel, the first chapter. A few chapters over, 2 Samuel, the first chapter, and verse 24. Because that's a great example of brotherly love, even against his own father. His old man wanted David dead, but he wasn't right. And Jonathan stuck with the Brotherhood. 2 Samuel 1:24. Go ahead.
Ye daughters of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet, with other delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel.
See, now he said, you daughters of Israel, weep. Saul is dead now. This is after Saul and Jonathan died the same day. So now David is basically doing a eulogy, so to speak. He is remembering Saul and Jonathan. David is talking. He said, you daughters of Israel, weep over Saul. Now, he's still speaking kindly of Saul, even though Saul was trying to kill him. Saul was trying to kill him, because he didn't stop trying to kill him once Jonathan let him go. He kept chasing him around, trying to kill him, but David still spoke kindly of Saul. He stayed out his way. Matter of fact, he had an opportunity to kill Saul, and he refused to do it. Twice, on 2 occasions. He let him know he could have killed him too. But he's agonizing over their death. He said, you daughters of Saul, of Israel, weep over Saul, who clothed you in scarlet with delights, who put on ornaments of gold upon your apparel. 25.
How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle?
How are the mighty fallen in the midst of the battle? Because Jonathan and Saul died. Go ahead.
Oh, Jonathan, thou wast slain in thine high places. I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan.
See, he called him his brother. So it's no homo here. He called him his brother. I'm just saying, because people read this verse and said, see, they was gay. He said, I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Go ahead.
Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women.
See, that's where they got it from. See? See what it said? No homo. It ain't got nothing to do with that.
Right.
Go and equate everything to that foolishness. Look, there's no way when the Bible said David was a man after God's own heart, and the Lord said that's an abomination for 2 men to be together.
Right.
No way, no how. But what it is showing you is the love of the brotherhood. They loved each other like brothers supposed to love each other. Even in hard times, when it was hard times, they still loved. That's why David felt so close to him, because, hey, when the chips was down, he said, hey, you looked out for me. He said, I am distressed for thee, my brother Jonathan. Very pleasant hast thou been unto me. Thy love to me was wonderful, passing the love of women. Hey, that's why we read in Proverbs. He said, there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So that's all he's talking about. He said, hey, this is the real love. That's why he said love the brotherhood. Romans, the 12th chapter. We're going to wrap it up. Romans 12. Romans 12. Back to the New Testament. Romans 12. 12 and 10. Romans 12 and verse 10. One verse. Go ahead.
Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love, and honor preferring one another.
See, he said, be kindly affectioned. See, again, he telling you to love one another, but he talking about brotherly love. Nothing sexual at all. Be kindly affectioned one to another with brotherly love. And he tell you how it is, because again, it's easy to say brotherly love and we love the brotherhood, but your actions is going to prove that. How you behave is going to prove it. And he giving you a hint here. He said, in honor, preferring one another. That means you going to put others in front of you. That's what you're supposed to be trying to do. That's why Jesus said, no greater love than this, than a man lay down his life for his friend. That means he put others in front of him, before him. Because again, we get out of brotherly love when it's just all about me. When it's just all about me, then we get out of brotherly love. It's just love of self. That's why I say in the last days, men shall be lovers of their own selves, covetous, boasters, truce breakers, covenant breakers. You make a covenant with somebody and they break it because it's more beneficial to them to break the covenant. He said, be kindly affectionate one to another with brotherly love and honor, preferring one another. So you're going to put somebody else before you. That's what Jonathan did with David. He could have been the next king. Or he get rid of David. He got it made. He a shoe-in. He was already his father's son. His father was king. But he saw the way the Lord wanted it, and he saw what was right, and he handled it the right way. But now, 1 John 2. 1 John 2. 1 John 2. So we're going to wrap it up. And Lord willing, we'll be back in the morning tomorrow and have another lesson, probably deal with how when you're striving for salvation, you got to endure to the end. It's a fight to the finish. 1 John 2 and 10. Go ahead.
He that loveth his brother abideth in the light.
See, he that loveth his brother. All this about loving your brother. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light. Go ahead.
And there is none occasion of stumbling in him.
See, because it ain't going to take nothing away from you to love your brother. It ain't even going to take nothing away from you to, even if your brother done something to you, to put up with it. It ain't going to take nothing away from you, because if you serving the Lord going to take care of you. You're going to be okay. You ain't even got to worry about it. He that loveth his brother abideth in the light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him, but
he that hateth his brother is in darkness.
See, if you hate your brother, you in darkness. Go ahead.
And walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness has blinded his eyes.
Because darkness have blinded his eyes. See, that's why we got all kind of, because you say, well, you know, my brother messed up. He did something wrong to me. Then you address that so you can move on. It's because there's no reason for me to be mad at Brother Nehemiah and then just don't say nothing to him about it. Don't say nothing to him about it. I'm just mad at him. But I ain't going to say nothing to him about it, because that's going to come out in my behavior still. That's going to come out in my behavior one way or another. Or all of a sudden, I just don't say nothing, you know, don't come around him no more. Just gone. I ain't going to say nothing to him. I ain't going to let him know what the problem is or anything. He said, he that hated his brother is in darkness and walketh in darkness and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness have blinded his eyes. Flip over to the 4th chapter, 1 John 4. First John 4, verse 20. Okay, go ahead.
If a man say, I love God, and hateth his brother, he is a liar. For he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen?
See, he that loveth not his brother. If you say you love God and hate your brother, he say you're a liar. He that loveth not his brother, for he that loveth not his brother whom he hath seen, how can he love God whom he hath not seen? You ain't even seen God. So again, it becomes much more than what we say. We can easily say, I love God and I love the brotherhood, but your actions is going to prove that. And you definitely can't love God if you can't love your brother. And you can't treat your brother how you supposed to be treat him. You definitely don't love God. Even though we can say we do, actions speak louder than words. Go to Matthew 5. Let's look at an example of that again. And we got one more and we're going to end it. Matthew 5. And we're going to pick it up at verse 21. Matthew 5 and verse 21. Because we got this all over the Bible. See, this is the highest form of family when you're walking with the Lord. So you make every effort to keep that bond. Now, sometimes somebody don't allow that. It's being possible. Well, it's nothing you can do about it, but you make every effort yourself. Because sometimes some people don't still want to be brothers and sisters with people in the word. Sometimes they want to do their own thing. Sometimes they don't even want to be in the word no more. There's nothing you can do about that. 5:21. Go ahead.
Ye have heard that it was said by them of old time, thou shalt not kill, and whosoever shall kill shall be in danger of the judgment.
Okay, so obviously thou shalt not kill, and if you kill, you in danger automatically, in danger of the judgment. But Jesus gonna show you the spiritual side of that. 22.
But I say unto you, that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment.
See, when I found out about this, brothers and sisters, and really understood what he's saying here, I started to watch myself, because you automatically, we can be quick to be angry sometimes. We can be too quick to be angry and don't even know what's going on. Don't even quite understand. Just like I've had people tell me, and I used to think the same way years ago, like, you just kind of got a feeling about somebody. I've had that before, and I've had people tell, I don't go by that no more. I don't, because feelings you can be fooling yourself. People say, I've had people tell me, even in the word, I'm telling you, it's just something about them. It's something about them. Well, did they do something? No, they ain't did nothing, but it's something about them. I tell them in a minute, look, wait till it come out. Don't put no stock in that. You can't put no stock in that. Because now, if you got that in your mind, you creating a problem already. You creating a problem. You're going to be acting funny. Now they're going to be, then it will be something about them because you acting crazy with them.
Right.
It will be something. They're going to be look like, what's wrong with you? Oh, nothing. You looking at them funny. Nothing. They looking at you like you crazy. So now you create a problem when it wasn't a problem.
Right.
So that's why you deal with the facts. Deal with facts, deal with issues. Don't make no issue when it's not an issue. He said, but I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause. That let me know I could be angry with somebody, brother or sister. Don't even have cause to be angry. That's a serious offense, the Lord is saying. That's a serious offense. Without a cause shall be in danger of the judgment. He said, look, you thought it was just murdering somebody you was in danger of the judgment. Look, you mad and don't have reason to be mad. You in danger just by that. Go ahead.
And whosoever shall say to his brother, Raka, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
See, now you really done got out your league. You done puff yourself up and talking crazy about somebody or to somebody. You really out your league. See, again, the Lord tell you, rebuke somebody or tell them, that they wrong. Take it to them. The Lord said, if your brother offend against you, take it to him. But it's a different thing when all of a sudden you so puffed up, you get high and mighty, and you are going to, like he said, call him a fool and call him this. Now you are in danger. He said, you said, thou fool, you in danger of hell fire. But that starts off with you having a problem, and you don't even need to have a problem. You don't even need to have a problem. 23, go ahead.
Therefore, if thou bring thy gift to the altar, and there remembers that thy brother hath aught against thee.
Okay, so now going back to what he said in 1 John 4, he said, if a man say he love God and hate his brother, he's a liar. How can you love, if you hate your brother who you see, how can you love God whom you haven't seen? So what he letting you know, brothers and sisters, that serving God, you got to, if you're going to serve God, you got to maintain the love of the brotherhood. You can't even properly go and serve God if you're not properly loving your brother. You can't do it. Sometimes we'll put that on the back burner. Yeah, well, I'm mad at so-and-so, so-and-so. I ain't going to say nothing to him. I ain't going to say nothing to him, but I'm going to the feast. Just like you have people sitting up For years, I remember Brother Daniel gave a lesson at the Israel of God for years, and he gave a smoking lesson. I was reading. I'd never forget that lesson. It was piercing everybody in there. It was like quiet, like cutting everybody up. Man, after that lesson, boy, people were speaking, hadn't spoke for a while. They like, hey, how you doing? They had learned, boy, because he cut everybody up. I was reading and getting cut up. But the bottom line, he laid it out like he even read, I remember that, how he read the scripture in Luke where it say, you think you all of that, but the Lord said, look, if you doing everything that you supposed to do, what you say to yourself is that I am an unprofitable servant. Right. I have only done that which is my duty. So you think like that, that'll keep you from getting so high and mighty and puffed up against somebody else. Right. That's why I prefer to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. I prefer, like they said with the opponents against the death penalty, they said, look, I'd rather let 1,000 guilty men go than send one innocent man to the death penalty. Right. And that's the way I look, because I know they ain't going to get away anyway. I know if somebody's out of line, the Lord going to deal with them. So I ain't going to be so quick to throw them under the bus, because the Lord going to deal with them. So again, he said, look, if you bring your gift to the altar, see, and the Lord will show us things, brothers and sisters. He will bring stuff to our mind, and sometimes we don't want to deal with it. Sometimes you can have an argument with somebody. You can be arguing over something, and you think, well, I'm right, and they think they right. But then the Lord will show you where, they had a point. And sometimes we don't want to admit, we don't want to acknowledge that. And you say, well, they still shouldn't have said that. But look, if you realize you shouldn't have did something that started all of it, then you got to acknowledge that. So if the Lord bring it to your mind and you say, well, yeah, I was wrong. That's the electronic stuff. But the Lord bring it to your mind and you say, yeah, I didn't handle that right. I didn't do something right. I didn't do that right in that. Then that you need to address that right then. You need to deal with it right then. Sometimes we'd be so, now we done turned the argument, we done put our foot in our mouth. We done said something about somebody. We done did this, and we don't want to go back and straighten it out. I had people find out. They say, yeah, well, they had a point, but still. But still what? No, and the Lord is saying you need to go handle that immediately. That's what he's saying, because that's how important the brotherhood is. He said, you're going to serve God, right? He said, verse 23, therefore, if you bring your gift to the altar, and there, you at the altar, about to make an offering to God. He said, and there you remember that thy brother had aught against you. All of a sudden it come to your mind, because the Lord will show you. If you want to do the right thing, the Lord going to put it on your mind. And you're going to say, yeah, I should have handled that differently. Well, you need to go deal with that then. He said, 24, do what?
Leave there thy gift before the altar.
He said, don't even make the offering. Stop right there. This is how important the brotherhood is. Go ahead.
And go thy way. First be reconciled to thy brother.
That's more important. That's more important what you about to do. You think what you about to do is more important. Well, I get to that later. I got to make this offering to the Lord. No, that's your offering to the Lord. Going and being reconciled to your brother. But sometimes we be stiff-necked. We be like that scripture in Proverbs where he said a brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. He said, you be reconciled to your brother, and then what?
And then come and offer thy gift.
See, then you can properly serve God the right way. You can offer your gift to the Lord. One more place, Ephesians 4, and this is it. Ephesians 4. But all that said is that you got to really be practicing and striving to maintain the brotherhood. Brotherhood, sisterhood, family, period. You got to really be practicing. And with that on your mind, how important that is, where if we brothers and sisters in the Lord, there's no higher family than that. Right. Ephesians 4:1. Go ahead.
I, therefore, the prisoner of the Lord, beseech you that ye walk worthy of the vocation wherewith ye are called.
Got to walk worthy. Go ahead.
With all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love.
See, with humbleness, lowliness, and meekness. Sometimes we get too puffed up with lowliness and meekness and long suffering. That means you're going to endure long suffering. That means you might suffer some. Brother Mike, like Peter said, 7 times, Jesus said 70 times 7. That's some long suffering, is it? 70 times 7, because I had people say, well, that's the second time she did that. She did that before. That's the second time. Where is it 700? Is it 490 yet? That's what Jesus says, 70 times 7. Now, people got to take responsibility. People need to acknowledge if they mess up. They need to acknowledge that. I had people say, well, you know, I told them I was sorry, and the other person said, they didn't mean it. It don't matter. Hey, if they said it, if they got it out, then you just go with it. Give them the benefit